Well, like I've been talking about, and thankfully, like how Donald Trump is finally kind of turning his eye on this. I know he's been doing a lot of things in the background, but the economy in America is not good. Yes, I know your stonks are going up, but the vast majority of people don't own stocks. Even I don't own stocks. I did for a little bit, but I got so nervous and like stressed out about it every day, worried that like Elon would tweet something and I would lose it all, or Trump would, do a tariff and I would lose it all, that I just took it all out and put it into like long-term, like decent interest rate savings. But most people don't own stocks. Most people are still talking about the high cost of groceries, energy bills, all this kind of stuff. Now, where I live, gas is getting a lot better. And that's one of the kind of the trifecta that I always try to look at when I look at Main Street, like gas prices, grocery prices, utilities. These are things that everyone has to deal with for the most part. And gas prices, at least where I live, are much, much, much better now than they have been, than they were a year ago. Hopefully that's putting more money in people's pockets who leave the house more than once a month, like me. But now Walmart has pivoted to affluent shoppers because essentially middle-class people and people who are living paycheck to paycheck are having a hard time even affording Walmart. They're opening new stores, but not even to the public. It's for people who have money in depressed Democrat-run cities. Essentially, the shoplifting, the black fatigue, all this stuff have kept people who can actually afford to shop at Walmart, which is a sick thing to even think about saying out loud. They've stopped going to the stores because they stopped wanting to get robbed and they stopped wanting to be around these degenerates. And now Walmart is opening stores that they don't allow the poors in, essentially. And let's get into this because it's wild. By the way, all this week, I'll be reminding people, my company, Coffee Brand Coffee, has your Christmas set up. And now I've gone to 15% off with promo code HOLIDAY15. We have our new for 2025 advent calendar, 20 delicious gifts in there, tons of coffee, treats, a K-cup adapter if you don't have a regular coffee machine. It is absolutely an amazing gift. Remember, the 12 days of Christmas starts on Christmas. So you can get that now. It's not an advent calendar. It's a 12 days of Christmas calendar. So it's a perfect gift. We have a holiday gift box, which always sells out every year with real cacao cocoa, chocolate-covered espresso beans, peppermint bark, and coffee all in a box that's ready to gift right away. And brand new for this year, our 100% Kona coffee, peppermint bark, served up in a holiday stocking, ready to gift, all 15% off until sold out. Promo code HOLIDAY15. Now, Walmart has pivoted to affluent shoppers because it is now revealed the K-shaped customer economy in 2025, and I'll explain what that is. Retiree Eileen Golick, 86, used to buy her clothes from Walmart when the retailer would have a big sale, but those days are over, according to a report from Yahoo Finance. I noticed the clothing went up, and they don't have sales like they used to, Golick said, outside the store of North Bergen, New Jersey. Priced out of Walmart, Golick simply isn't buying clothes right now. She's prioritizing groceries, and she's not alone. You're seeing more customer dollars go to necessities versus discretionary items, John David Rainey, Chief Financial Officer of Walmart, said. For millions of Walmart's core customers who tend to be lower or middle income and live in rural and suburban areas, wage growth has slowed, spending has fallen, and inflation and tariffs are making everyday purchases feel too expensive. Now, so Walmart, the country's largest retailer, has in recent years began warming to high income shoppers. Rather than lowering their prices, rather than buying American to avoid the tariffs, they're abandoning middle class and paycheck to paycheck customers and deciding, hey, we need to, only rich people can afford to shop at Walmart, which is flipping bonkers. Now, I don't know how you do your shopping, but we do ours basically like once a month. So it's more difficult for me to kind of tell like, whoa, this is crazy because like, 1 month we need laundry detergent and the next month we don't. Or 1 month we buy, we stock up on TP and paper towel and the next month we don't. So sometimes, the grocery bill might sway by $200 or $300, but then it's like, oh, well, this month we bought, liquor because we were having people over. Or this month we bought, so you're always kind of like justifying it. But I would say the average we're spending at Walmart, which is where we do our grocery shopping, is still definitely going up. It's a reflective of the broader trend in the United States in consumer spending. Businesses, even ones that traditionally serve lower income shoppers, are becoming increasingly reliant on customers at the upper end of the economic ladder. Experts describe these divergent groups of consumers as the two legs of the K-shaped economy. The wealthy, flushed with gains from the stock market and higher wage growth, are driving an outsized share of consumer spending. Are there wealthy people right now? I guess you could argue, yeah, but I mean, like gains from the stock market. If you're gaining in the stock market, these people generally are not, you're not cashing out, right? You're not cashing it out to spend at Walmart. So I don't know how all that works. I'm not a stock guy. I guess if your stocks are going up, you feel more liquid. You feel like, hey, I could spend more money or whatever the case is. On the other leg of the K is the rest of the population. I would argue this is probably 85% of us is stagnating or falling behind. Look, I've talked about it. It's hit my business. I had widespread layoffs at my business this year. You know, I used to have 2 video editors, a full-time advertising person who's also a personal assistant and would help out with online posting. Now I'm down to 1 person. You know, YouTube earnings is down 50%. You can't just lose 50% of your paycheck and say, well, we'll just continue as things go. Now, I'm really, really hoping that it's somewhat temporary. I can bring some of these people back. But if it's affecting me, it's certainly affecting everyone else. Rising prices continue to dog consumers. Even though the rate of inflation has come down from its heights during the Biden administration, inflation has risen for 5 straight months and hit 3.02 year over year in September. Meanwhile, there are signs of a weakening job market. U.S. small businesses shed 120,000 jobs in November alone, according to payroll processor ADP. That's when I did my layoffs. I gave everyone severances for several months, but like November was when I had to make my cuts too. The outline was a little bit better for larger employers, but small businesses are considered the canaries in the coal mine for the U.S. labor market. Consumer confidence is also down, falling in November to its lowest point since April, according to a recent Conference Board survey. Reach for comment, Walmart spokesperson pointed to NBC News to the company's most recent earnings release. Walmart had made major changes to draw in higher income shoppers. The retailer is renovating more than 1,400 stores and added more upscale products. I think it's indicative of how Walmart is changing and how our customer base is changing. No, I think that's indicative of bad news, right? Every year, people are saying, oh, well, you know, it's, you know, look at the Christmas spending. It's up, it's up, it's up. Well, is it though? Every year, the American consumer, I assume this is probably true most countries in the West, we go into debt for Christmas. People say, well, it's Christmas. I got to get my kids Christmas. Well, it's Christmas. You know, the pennies catalog came. This is, by the way, always one of my Christmas traditions is going through the, you know, I collected these old pennies Christmas catalogs. We always do a stream around Christmas time and remember when we were kids and go through this stuff. Parents love their kids and they will always spend to keep Christmas intact, even if it means going into debt. We saw on Black Friday a 50% increase in buy now, pay later, which we know really means buy now, pay never. These buy now, pay later companies largely rely on defaults and collections and all this kind of stuff. People who are using like Klarna to buy fast food, they're never paying that back. And then you see this, Walmart's plan for serving wealthy urban shoppers, stores you cannot even go into. The wealthy have migrated to Walmart. Listen, it's not that this is so crazy about this headline. The wealthy have not migrated to Walmart. The wealthy are feeling the pinch too, and they're making the smart changes, and they're stopping shopping at high-line grocers, and they're tightening their belts too. If the wealthy are shifting to Walmart, it's not because they see more like, oh my gosh, I really want to shop at Walmart. They're like, this is what I can afford right now. And they don't want to rub shoulders with the youths in these big cities. Walmart is building a presence in urban areas that's closer to the parts of well-off population that started shopping with it in recent years. The traditional store format developed by the company has historically not translated well to cities. CFO John David Rainey said in a conference Tuesday, well, of course, because they're constantly getting robbed. Walmart is weighing measured and responsible ways to move this. They are considering opening up dark stores, they're called. Consumers with six-figure salaries began shopping at Walmart en masse. The company built up a delivery option. Company executives have credited this population with driving much of its recent growth. On Black Friday, one of the top-selling items were AirPods, which maybe is more attractive to the affluent customer. That's not true. Everybody in the hood's got AirPods. You know, this idea, like, where's this dark store story? They don't have the sales that they used to. A retiree who's prioritizing groceries at Walmart's instead of clothes. That's a story we already talked about. Walmart's opening new stores, not open to the public. These new dark stores are being tested as a better way to fulfill online orders and are not open to the public. Inside the stores, the first of which recently opened in Dallas, resemble a typical Walmart store. However, there's no signage as customers cannot come in. A person knowledgeable with the situation but not authorized to speak publicly. The stores do not have Walmart signage, but in store have many of the same popular products ordered online by customers as a way to speed up online order fulfillment. Another dark store is in works for Bentonville, Arkansas, the home of the retailer's corporate headquarters, which cited people familiar with the development. Walmart is experimenting with miniature distribution centers to fulfill orders from customers who are paying more to get items faster. Well, people don't want to get robbed. People don't want to go into these stores and step over used diapers that are always in the parking lot. And the real story here is that Walmart is being forced to court wealthy customers. Well, where does that leave the rest of us? Where does that leave people who are living paycheck to paycheck? Not in a good spot. I hope you're informed by this video. I hope you'll remember to go on over to coffeebrandcoffee.com. On top, click the Christmas gifts. Get your Christmas gift 15% off. Holiday 15 right now is the promo code. We'll talk to you again real soon.